Today's infrastructure is starting to get pretty long in the tooth, and it's based on a model that's very expensive. You know, the fact that you have all these towers out there, and at the base of their tower there's a little building, and it's chock full of custom electronics. You know, when you want to load balance, it's pretty much impossible. You know, whenever something has to change, you got to roll a truck, you got to send a tech out there. All very expensive. Capital high, operating costs high. That's not the future. Communication is basically a mathematical problem. I don't think that, you know, the pioneers of, you know, of radio communication, you know, 100 plus years ago really thought about it in computational terms. But, you know, our modern view is, hey, it's just a set of equations, that's a compute problem, you know, we can throw a lot of compute power at it. So, so we think Cloud RAN, you know, hands down looks like a winner. Wireless infrastructure, the technical name for wireless infrastructure is RAN, the Radio Access Network. So we want to redefine the way you build the radio access network as basically a cloud technology. So we talk about cloud radio access networks. And the key to this is this notion of software-defined radios. If we could actually run the radios on server platforms located in the data center as opposed to out at the tower running on all this specialized hardware, we'd see this dramatic reduction both in operating cost and in capital cost. Last year at IDF, I showed the first stage of this, which was to build a complete LTE base station stack and run it on, I think at the time, a Sandy Bridge processor, so, you know, second generation, you know, core microprocessor. And I was showing the fact that it's a very multi-core friendly application. So you get great efficiency and great performance from the software-defined radio. The next step is, well, okay, that, you know, one server is not going to do the trick. We're going to need lots of servers, and they're going to need to work together very efficiently. And so that's what I'm going to demonstrate in my keynote tomorrow. Is now we actually have the prototype, the forerunner of what a cloud radio access network would look at, where we have a stack of servers, each running the LTE base station software-defined radio. And what's really cool is now all the data center management techniques are applicable. So we can use virtualization to load balance the workload. So instead of having all this capacity out at the towers, but having no way to utilize that, we can now put more servers at a given tower that sees high traffic and fewer servers on the towers that see less traffic. So classic case, the big game ends, you know, everybody, you know, wants to start texting and Facebooking and Twittering and everything like that. And of course, the one or two towers that may cover that stadium just can't handle the traffic, and everybody gets, you know, things are disconnecting, and, you know, messages aren't moving and all of that. In a cloud radio access network, you know, we detect that the load building up around those towers, and we just put more and more radios to work processing the data. People have a great experience, and the operators see tremendous efficiency because they were able to bring the power of, you know, many servers to bear on that. Very short-lived, but, you know, very demanding traffic situation. I think the potential business opportunity is just enormous. I mean, you know, we're just talking about the challenges in China. I mean, they're equally large here in the U.S. and Europe and all around the globe. I mean, essentially, we've never sold any of our servers, you know, into the existing radio access network. I mean, that's not to say the operators don't have servers, but those base stations were built with very proprietary electronics. So suddenly that, you know, that whole market opens. So, you know, I mean, I'm sort of making up the numbers, but gee, if it's just one server per base station, there are 1 million base stations. That's a lot of servers in anybody's book. So I think the business opportunity is huge, and really it represents a fundamental rethink of radio access network architecture.